Hello everyone, Johnny Minder here. And today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Pokémon FireRed. Last time we did our first Pokémon battle. Of course, considering that we had to check all the writings. In this version there's also Professor Oak telling you about some things during it. Yeah, we did that. So today we'll continue after that, but first we actually have a kanji to study. Well, one and then the related ones. Because yeah, last time by doing our first battle, we got money. And as you can see here in this screenshot, the money uses the kanji for n, yen, so straight up yen in Japanese. And so yeah, we start by studying this. Yeah, without further ado, let me open it. And yeah, here it is. As you can see, I've already opened the page of it. Unfortunately, we can't start with the kanji itself because we have to check its components. And actually, this is a new form used in Japanese. Because, yeah, the traditional one is this one. And yeah, so way more complex. We start, I'd say, with technically the easiest part first. This one. The semantic part of that kanji. Pretty easy. It might look similar to the kanji of a mouth, which we have already studied in a previous series. Pretty sure it was... well, actually, let me quickly check. Just to be sure. Yeah, we studied the one for mouth in Kirby's Adventure. And again, if you want to review that, you can find the exact part in which we checked it out in the description of the playlist. And of course, I put these ones we studied today in the description of the Pokémon FireRed playlist then. But yeah, similar but actually different. Because yeah, this one is an enclosure, as we'll see in a second, and it's bigger. Yeah, the stroke order is actually the same top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, left to right. Yeah, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, as a single stroke, left to right. Yeah. So yeah, straight up an enclosure, square shaped technically. Even though we have seen, in this case it says like that because even in the Oracle Bone script, the oldest one, the oldest form, it was already a square. We have seen, like in the case of mouth and other kanji, that also most circles and so on also then later became squares. But yeah, simply an enclosure. Yeah, it's not a part of the list of the kanji. Yeah, it's important because it's actually also a radical. So yeah, it was worth checking out. its name, the only reading used technically, it's not used as a kanji, only as the radical, so yeah, only as the country radical. And yeah, so kuni gamae, from kuni, unaccented, which means country. Kamae, accent on the ma on its own. And yeah, in general, as you can see, structure, construction, appearance, and so on. Specifically for kanji enclosure type radical. As it says there, must enclose at least two sides of the kanji. Here it encloses everything. Becomes a compound, the second, and that's why we have the voicing of the ga, ka into ga, because of the usual rule, second part of a compound, even more so of strictly Japanese origin, that more often than not happens to those tendency, we could say. So kunigama, the accent also is on the ga, becomes on the ga despite the accent of kamae on its own. Again, on the first mora of the second part of the compound, typical spot for accents in compounds. But yeah, with that, we can now actually check the semantic part of our kanji. And actually, there's more to it. First, we start technically with the part above, which looks simply like, while there more like a square, in other, as you can see, in another one, a circle. Yeah, we actually take it as a chance to mention this kanji. Or better, this symbol. This one is literally a circle, even in nowadays. I'm pretty sure that you technically, to write it, you should start at the top. That I'm sure for 100%. And it should be anti-clockwise. But regardless, it's straight up a circle. It has two usages in contemporary Japanese. The first one on its own is used for the zero in Japanese, as we have seen, accent on the first mora. And yeah, it's used for that in kanji positional notation. So yeah, actually for when you write with kanji, with the and specifically, instead of using the usual combinations of, for example, here 2000, and so the kanji for 2, and then the one for 1000, and so on, you straight up use 2. This is 0, 7, for example, for 2007. So yeah, that usage, and that's what it says for kanji positional notation. The other one, actually more common, let's say, is this one. I'll show it here. It's technically pronounced as maru, which actually is useful to know for later, as we see. Maru unaccented on its own. Even with this doubling, well, it doesn't show for this one in particular. I'll quickly check the physical dictionary if it's present there. There's another doubling of maru, which is still unaccented. So my guess would be the same for this one. But let's see. And yeah, it seems like that's the case. I can see it there. And yeah, when you write, this symbol twice, so, and is pronounced maru maru, so literally circle, circle, it's used as a placeholder, and yeah, simply as a literal placeholder, or can also be used for technical censorship. But yeah, so there's also this usage, so yeah, we took that as a chance to see that as well. And now we can finally check out this, or better, actually, its component. First and foremost, which is this one. So yeah, we have this kanji. We check its stroke order. At the top, we have the kanji for I, which we have already studied, even though it isn't strictly the kanji for I, as we'll see. But yeah, first we start by drawing that, luckily, so yeah. Top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom as a single stroke. 3 left to right. Then top to right, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom. I wait for another round here to continue from there. But yeah, then you move to the left part, and yeah, as you can see there, left to right, slanted, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom. There are some changes on which parts are written as a single stroke, depending on in Japanese or in other languages. But yeah, the order should be the same overall. And yeah, it follows the usual rules. But yeah, we wait for another round. But yeah, first you simply write the kanji for I. So yeah, I want to repeat that. Then you move to the left, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, left to right, slanted, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom. This one is united as usual. Yeah, here it mentions which ones are written in which way. But anyway, we can check out its historical forms. And with that, we can see, and we also have straight up a photo here of it, of this ding, in Chinese, tripod. Yeah, you can see the similarity between the object itself and the kanji. Yeah, a tripod, technically, an ancient bronze vessel, as it mentions, with 3 legs. Sometimes it can also be used, this kanji, I think I've seen mentioned also for vessels with 4 legs. But yeah, it doesn't change, so yeah, we have that. Yeah, sometimes carved with characters. And yeah, used, borrowed phonetically, of course, as we'll see. Potentially also semantically with the meaning to divine. But yeah, in our case, simply we have the 3-legged cattle, as it says here in the Japanese meanings. This is a Jinmei kanji, so one used for names. So actually, in the list of the names, actually, even if not used as an actual name, still present, not considered one of straight up common usage, but still technically important, still part of the list. First, we have, we can mention it's the Chinese reading is still used. Te, i, so long e nowadays. Some still pronounce it as tei. And that actually comes from the thing we have seen above for Chinese. Yeah, that's because of how Japanese adapted Chinese words into its language. Particularly, I can mention that technically we have that te-i because the i was actually nasalized in classical Japanese. And so, yeah, you can see better why ting became te then technically tei. Also because actually there were some, it was actually tang in Middle Chinese. So yeah, te, literally te, and then the ng actually that nasalized i. But yeah. And then there's the kunyomi, which is the one actually, yeah, you can use te accented. But also this strictly Japanese term, kanae, unaccented. Yeah, interestingly enough, it's a compound noun from kana, metal, we have already studied the kanji, plus this he, which then loses the h original p because it's in the middle of a word. As we have actually seen before for other compounds like hono. Yeah, this he, a pot or pan for holding food or beverages, says here. When checking it with the plugin, we can see accented technically. Specifically seems for Japanese actually for an earthenware vessel for alcoholic beverages and so on. Oh yeah. So yeah, we have seen this kanji, which we need because actually in this kanji that we have to study as it's one of the components of the kanji we have seen in game, or better its traditional form. We have at the top simply a square or a better a circle in certain. At the bottom, we originally had the thing we have seen, the tripod, and so actually we had that, but luckily for us, it got simplified and now it's simply written like the kanji for shell, which we have already studied. Pretty sure we have studied it in Super Mario Land 2. I can quickly check just to be completely sure. Yes, of course, because of that, but yeah, we have studied it. So yeah, with that we check its the stroke order. Yeah, here we have it like this, but yeah, pretty simple. Above we write the kanji for mouth, and now we can actually see it a smaller square. But yeah, the stroke order is the same top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, as a single stroke left to right. And then we have the one for shell, yeah, top to bottom. Notice that the first part is again the kanji for eye, technically, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, left to right, left to right, left to right. And then this slanted on the left and slanted on the right. So pretty easy. The kanji for mouth, the kanji for, we could say eye, and then these are two slanted strokes. So yeah, actually, or even better, if you remember them, the kanji for mouth and then the kanji for shell. But yeah, apparently, we get this meaning round. But actually, I've seen mentioned that the reason why it gets the meaning which we see it has in contemporary Japanese and then actually also in Chinese and so on from Chinese is that according to what I've seen, it mentioned that it was used as a counter for vessels like the thing we have seen, like the tripods we have seen in this kanji originally. And then from a counter for those became a counter for people. And specifically, the term for member, and also technically a counter for member, nowadays usually found in compounds. Technically, it has also some strictly Japanese readings, but nowadays they aren't used. I've seen mentioned here, if you use the plugin, not even mentioned here, but they're among the name readings. So we'll ignore them. The only reading nowadays used is one of the Chinese ones, in particular in. And in on its own, technically accented member, more often than not used as in compounds and also as a suffix. And so we'll actually check its accent when used as a suffix. I think it should be accented, the accent should be before the in itself, but we'll see. Yep, found it. And the accent is like that. I can actually show at least one word, for example. Not the most obvious usage when as a suffix, because usually we would attach it to Chinese compounds, and so at least 2 kanji, and then we would have the suffix, so this would become 3. Here we have 2, and the first one is of strictly Japanese origin. But it's person in charge, official attendant, kakari-in, and the accent is on the ri, so before the in itself. Just wanted to show this one, since it's one of the most common words for this kanji. But we'll see it, we'll see other usages as well. But with that, finally, we can check out the traditional form of our kanji here. We don't have the stroke order, as it would be way too long. And that's also why eventually it got simplified, of course. The stroke order should simply be, we start the enclosure, but don't close it with the final stroke. So top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom. Then we write the part inside, so our kanji for member, we have already seen, and then we close it. But with this, the part inside for sure gives the reading, while nowadays the Chinese reading used, as mentioned, is in exclusively. One of the other readings of other Chinese readings was N, and that's the one used also here. So definitely for the reading. Potentially also, because as we have seen technically, we had the circle on top. So you have circle, and then we have the enclosure. But this kanji has the meaning, the fundamental meaning is round circle, And then by extension, it becomes also yen, en in Japanese, most likely because of coins, of the shape of coins. It's worth mentioning that actually all the languages that use kanji, Chinese first and foremost, of course, then Japanese, also Korean, their terms for their money all come from this kanji. Yeah, we have yen, actually en pronounced in Japanese, yuan in Chinese, won in Korean, and yeah, apart from won, which was originally won, yeah, when you pronounce it like that, you can see better. Yeah, they are all quite similar because yeah, they all come from this. We actually check the readings here when we finally move on to our kanji, the simplified form. And yeah, here it is. Way easier. And yeah, we write it like this. We start on the top left as usual, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, with also this kind of a hook at the end, top to bottom in the middle, and then left to right. Yeah, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the hook, top to bottom, left to right. Most likely, actually, it's actually, yeah, as mentioned here, the simplification went like this. First, the internal part, which is of course the one that had to be simplified because it's why it's the most complex one, became simply a vertical stroke in handwriting. Then actually the bottom part raised. They started putting it higher. And yeah, that's how we get then the final form. So yeah, actually, the middle stroke is what replaced the phonetic part of the kanji. And then we moved the closure stroke from the bottom to the middle. I can mention that also a way to remember it is, in a way, if you look at it kind of, if you have ever seen those coins, those Japanese coins with the hole in the middle that I mentioned also, I think, last time, or if not last time, a previous time in this very series, it kind of might remind you of that in a way. Yeah, that can be a mnemonic, or even better, now that you know, and I've mentioned it, how it became the actual etymology. But yeah, so as mentioned, the meanings are circle, the fundamental one, round or circle, and then also yen. We have a lot of technically strictly Japanese readings. The actual common ones are maru, unaccented, as already mentioned, circle. More often than not, actually written with different kanji, which we'll study eventually. Then we have the adjective, marui, luckily also unaccented, so easier to remember. With the other kanji, it refers to actually ball-shaped. So it's actually the more common one usually. While this one, two disc-shaped objects, so yeah, there's that difference between the two. But yeah, the fundamental meaning is still round, and then can become circular or spherical depending on the kanji. Of course, as usual, it says usually, so yeah, might not always be respected, but yeah, that's technically how you do it. Other readings technically present, we have first and foremost, I'd say, well, we have this Tsubura, for example, a completely different one for round and cute, especially of eyes, but these ones are barely used. I only mention them just so you know that technically they exist. Madoka, accent on the ma. This one could be actually, as we see, there is a change on, to Maro first, most likely from Maru, and then most likely then the R changed into the from that, and then this additional ka because it's an adjective. Again, round, another extended meaning, tranquil. Also, Maroyaka, yeah, this one actually, as the ro, as mentioned, accent on the ro, third to last, as it, because it's an adjective ending in yaka, and so that's actually how those are accented. But yeah, this one I'm just mentioning just to say that we have seen them. But yeah, the fundamental one is maru, circle, and then the adjective marui, also accented, circular, well, round, then circular or spherical. The other reading that interests us is N, the Chinese one, originally when, and then you can see even better why it's related to yuan and won. But yeah, N. Why then is it pronounced, is it called nowadays outside of Japan the currency yen? That's because at the time when the term came to English and other languages, it was actually pronounced yen because words with e, starting with e in particular, without previous consonants and so on, added this y sound, and so yeah, it was actually pronounced yen. But yeah, nowadays actually simply n in Japanese, easier, but yeah, be careful. I want to quickly mention, since we have the accents, we have I've kind of mentioned them some. We have seen some of them for the because of the game itself. But yeah, this is the case. It's the case. It's better to see them here. And yeah, with N, of course, Chinese origin, so we use the Chinese numerals except for the usual ones, which we see. We have Ichien, Nien, San-en. This one all unaccented. Then we have Yo-en. Technically, there's a version also without the N. There's also a version with the N. Honestly, nowadays, maybe the latter might be more common, despite what this dictionary mentions. This one is accented, so be careful. And yeah, we use, of course, the strictly Japanese numeral, as usual, for the number 4. Then we have Goen, also accented before N. After that, we have Rokuen, we go back to the unaccented ones. Nanaen, we use the strictly Japanese numeral, and we're also back to the accented ones. Hachien, unaccented. Qn, accented. And then Zuen, unaccented. So yeah, unfortunately, this is one where it's not easy to say that there's a rule or tendency, and we simply will have to remember. Easier said than done, but yeah, we'll see them again, we'll check them again. Although, lucky enough, that more often than not, we'll see with the only issue will be that technically with n we'll have also bigger numbers, and in that case I'm not sure which what the action will be, the accent will be. My guess would be unaccented, like most of these. Yeah, that would be my safest guess, my best guess. But unfortunately, we can't verify it unless it's mentioned in the online dictionary. But yeah, with that, we have finally seen this kanji, all its components. So yeah, we can go back, close these. Perfect. Yeah, we can actually start the game itself. And yeah, finally we have 4 of these summary. The usual one here with the potion. Again, the mistake here. Yeah, it straight up records what you do. We left left the house, so that it says that we rested at the house, even though we simply left. Yeah, actually, as you can see, they are slightly longer than you might expect. Yeah, we left the laboratory there. And yeah, this one is the new. Yeah, I couldn't see it in time, but yeah, it was of course because fully in time. But yeah, it was of course about our fight with our rival. Oh yeah, we can actually check out some things here. Yeah, actually now there's a different thing here. It says Okido Hakase no Pokémon Saga no Ippiki da. First and foremost, we have the usual Okido Hakase, Professor Oak, Doctor, PhD Oak, actually in Japanese. But yeah, we could say then Professor by extension technically. Even though to be precise, Professor specifically would use different titles in Japanese. We have the possessive particle no, Pokémon, and then we have this Saigo. You might remember, I'm not sure if also last time we have seen one of these words. Yeah, these words with Sai at the start, which is the kanji, the Chinese reading of the kanji for most. And then we have Go, which is the Chinese reading of one of the Chinese readings. Fortunately, there are more than one in this case, of the kanji for Ato. So yeah, after. So yeah, Saigo, accented on the first mora, means most, after technically. So yeah, it's actually last. Yeah, Chinese compound. This one is one of those accented on the first mora. But yeah, noun technically, but yeah, as usual, one of those nouns which take the possessive particle no to make in practice an adjective, so yeah, last something. In our case, it's ipiki. So yeah, actually a numeral plus counter combination here used like a noun. We have seen hiki, the counter, well, actually it would be hiki with the e of he, barely heard if at all. Counter for small animals. With the one ichi, then we have the change. We have already mentioned this. I wanted to just remind you of the accent. This one, as we have seen when we have these contractions, it should be the accent on ki. Yeah. Luckily, in this case, we can make a rule of this, despite the differences. Yeah, let me quickly find it just to repeat it. Okay. Yeah, found it. And yeah, this one is accent on the last syllable, on the key. Other ones without these changes, as a reminder, are accented before hiki, immediately before hiki. So yeah, for example, to, ni hiki, and the one we have seen last time, or the previous time actually, before the battle. So yeah, previous time, sambiki, so with the 3. Then we have last but not least the copula, ta, in plain speech. So yeah, literally it's the last of Professor Oak's Pokemon. And yeah. Okay, with that, I'd say actually I have to take the break now. We'll be back in around 5 minutes. And when we do so, we'll actually, well, we have to, I think Oak might have something else to say. We might check if the other NPCs here have something more to say. Then we'll start going around Pallet Town again, Masalah Town. But yeah, see you in around 5 minutes. And we are back. Yeah, so we can continue. Let's see what Hawk has to say. Yeah, something new. Red Tomo, Makezu ni, Pokémon O, and then it continues, but well, we can actually try to move it because at the top it simply says Reddo, name of our protagonist, Mod, inclusive particle, also even. Okay. Then he says, first and foremost, Makezu ni, from the verb makeru, which means to lose, to be defeated, to be beaten. The accent is unaccented, so yeah, okay, makeru. Other extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is to lose. So, it's a ru verb, it's then verb. We can drop the ru to make, in this case, the irrealis form, the not yet state form, as I call it based on its Japanese name. The one, as you might remember, used with the negative usually, nai. And yeah, in this case, instead of nai, we use zu, which is an older auxiliary, a classical auxiliary in classical Japanese for the negative. So yeah, it's still a negative form. This one in particular, in contemporary Japanese, we also add the particle ni. Technically, the adverbial particle, we could say, because yeah, it kind of like works like an adverb in a sense, because yeah, the meaning of this zu ni is without doing the action of the verb. So yeah, in our case, without losing. Then we have Pokemon. After that we have the object particle O, written as O, pronounced as such in careful speech and also singing. Then we have the verb tatakawasete. We have seen it last time. From tatakau, unaccented, means to fight. It's a verb, Kodan verb, so we can change the U into A. Here it becomes also A because it's in U, so originally again Pu, but then the P became W, with the U stayed without it. With the other vowels became Wa, Wi, We, Wo. The other ones changed except for the wa, which remains, so yeah, that's why we now write it as wa. Originally would have been written as ha, but pronounced as wa after the changes mentioned. But yeah, we changed the u into a and then add se ru to make the causative form of the verb. So yeah, to make fight the Pokemon, your Pokemon, could say implied. But yeah, then the causative form is a ru verb, it's a verb, so we can drop the ru to make the continuative form. And so then attach the te, make the te form. Te form, which could be simply in its meaning, do the action of the verb and the rest of the sentence, or, and let's say better in this case, by doing the action of the verb in te. Either way, after that we have the verb solateru. We have seen it, if not last time, the previous one again. Actually, I think maybe also last time. It means to raise, to bring up, the transitive form of the verb. The intransitive one is sodatsu, so intransitive in u, transitive in eru. Another couple of verbs like that, accented both. And yeah, here we have straight up solateru as is, because actually after that we have the to. So in this case actually a conjunction, the one used to make one of the conditional forms of the verb. If, when can also have a temporal meaning. This is the closest one to the zero conditional, so yeah. If you do the action of the verb, then inevitably something happens. In this case actually used because we then add e, the adjective which means good, fundamental meaning, and other similar meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is good. We have seen that this structure to e literally would be if you do the action of the verb, it's good. So yeah, in a sense like you should do the action of that verb. Last but not least, we have the final sentence particle so. Later more language, we have seen force, technically the fundamental one, usage. I'd say maybe kind of like actually simply emphasis. Force or indicates a command. Yeah, no. Mostly we have seen the quote-unquote force. But yeah, so the translation becomes also read. So yeah, actually also you, because he's speaking to us. So yeah, simply uses the name as instead of using a second person singular in our case pronoun like anata, because yeah, usually you use actually the name of the person. In other contexts, usually actually with a suffix, the classic san, for example. Other ones straight up their title, like in our case we had Professor Okido Hakase. Yeah, so actually also read, as in actually also you, should raise, bring up, implied your Pokemon by making them fight without losing. Oh yeah, okay. Other things, yeah, the objects shouldn't change here. On the other hand, the NPCs may yet have something else to say. Let's see. Nope. We have seen that. This we have seen as well. Yeah, no, I think we have seen them all. Yeah, perfect. Of course not, the sign doesn't change. Yeah, no. Lucky the NPCs, most of them shouldn't have changed. This one has, I think. You might remember that this girl was the one in front of the sign, so yeah, there was all that matter about the sign, the tips. While here she says, Watashi mo Pokémon no sodateteru no. So yeah, first and foremost we have Watashi, unaccented, the most common, well, I should say the fundamental first-person singular pronoun in Japanese, in contemporary Japanese, I. Actually a contraction of watashi, same meaning, I, but that one is formal. Watashi is slightly formal, so yeah, it's actually preferred in practice, even though watashi is also used. But yeah, here we have watashi. By the way, also seen, while technically that one, watashi is the generic pronoun, okay, the slightly formal one, so the fundamental one. It can also be used, seen used more by female characters compared to male characters in fiction. But yeah, generic. This is technically the generic one. And yeah, after that we have again the inclusive particle mo. So yeah, also even I. We have Pokemon. The object particle o. And then we have again sodateteru. So yeah, first and foremost from sodateru again. Ru verb is a verb, so we can drop the ru to make the continuative form, and then simply to attach the te and make the te form. In this case, the form required because after that we had iru, unaccented, to be as in to exist on its own, of animated things, so people and animals. But after that, the form of verbs, it's used as an auxiliary with the meaning of a continuing action or state, so to be doing the action of the verb in te, or to have add what the verb says. And then here it simply gets contracted, it drops, but yeah, it's still, instead of sodatete iru, sodatete ru. Last but not least, we have this particle no at the end. While particle, most likely, technically, we could say that it's the usual nominalizer for verbs and adjectives. Thing as in fact. But yeah, when used at sentence end like this, it usually can technically indicate a confident conclusion, but more often than not we'll see it as indicating an quote-unquote emotional emphasis. So yeah, actually a female term or language. It's worth mentioning that it can also be used with a rising tone to indicate a question instead of using the usual interrogative particle ka. And in that case, actually, it's used, it's not more specifically a female term or language anymore. Yeah, here, clearly, not a question, and yeah, I suspect it's because she's a girl. And even more so, yeah. The emphasis and quite emotional with that exclamation mark. Yeah, so the translation, even I'm raising, bringing up Pokemon. And yeah, she says after that, Tsuyoku nareba, Gado man no kawari ni naru shi ne. First and foremost, we have Tsuyoku, again from Tsuyoi, strong, the adjective. So yeah, we can drop the I to then add the ku and make the adverbial form. The accent then moves on the tsu. So yeah, for the instead of being the second to last mora, it's the third to last for the adverbial form. Adverbial form required because then we have the verb naru to become, and so yeah, to become strong. So yeah, the adverbial form of adjectives is used with the verb naru to make to become that adjective. Naru, accented by the way, u verb codam verb. We can change the u into e to make technically the realis form as mentioned, but yeah, nowadays simply called the conditional form because yeah, one of its usages is to make a conditional form when we add ba, like in this case. Again, conditional or also temporal if when. This one is the closest one to the first conditional, even though not always necessarily. But yeah, so if I become strong, then she says, Gadoman. And yeah, as you can see also because it's written in katakana, technically, yeah, it's from English. Gado, guard, and then man. So yeah, literally guard man. But yeah, you might think usually it's not a word in English. And you'd be correct because actually it's one of those called wase, so literally of Japanese production words, English words. So by taking, of course, English terms, actually existing English terms, then they might make compounds like this one that are not present in English. But yeah, you can easily guess its meaning. Yeah, literally a guard man. So yeah, man who guards. So actually, technically, a security guard would be. As for its accent, okay, luckily the accent is on the ga, on the first mora. So yeah, gado on its own would be accented like that also. Guard, just like in English. Man accented on the ma on its own. But yeah, in this case we actually keep the accent of the first word part of the compound. But yeah, so we have this guard man, security guard. Then we have the possessive particle no, of, or z, guardman z. And yeah, in this case straight up like that, but also to connect and modify the following word, which is kawari. Kawari actually comes from the verb kawaru. Kawaru, we have seen it before, unaccented, means to change. Can also have some different meanings, some different connotations of the verb to change depending on the kanji. This one in particular would be the one which is to take the place of, to substitute for, can also be to represent, but yeah, because of that. But yeah, you can see why from to change we got that meaning. Verb, godan verb. It's the intransitive form of the verb, by the way. The transitive one is in eru. So again, yeah, in this case, actually, the transitive in eru, the intransitive in aru, with also that change. So my guess would be that ka eru was actually ka weru, and then changed because of the evolution of the language. But yeah, the one in aru, more likely than not, again, a classical form of the passive to be changed, and so yeah, then something actually changed. Yeah, verb, godan verb, so we can change the u into i to make the continuity form, and so the corresponding noun. So yeah, with that specific kanji, it then has the meanings substitute, replacement, or of course simply the nominal form of the verb. So yeah, substituting, replacing. But yeah, no, in our case actually I'd say better straight up the noun, substitute, replacement. We have the particle ni, used again required by the verb naru. So with nouns we use the particle ni. And also for na adjectives, by the way, also in that case we use ni. But yeah, so become, that's something. After that we have first si, which is a particle. Yeah, technically a particle. You could say also a conjunction, better in this case since we have a verb. Its usage usually is because, but specifically not just a simple because. We have seen other forms like kara for that. Not sure if also no de, but that's another one. This one specifically indicates one of several reasons. And from that meaning, which is the one used, that one used in the middle of the sentence, when you use that sentence end, it becomes the thing is, or better, for one thing. And yeah, you can see that technically you are giving again a reason. And yeah, you give a reason for an unstated but deducible conclusion, as says also the online dictionary. Last but not least, we have the final sentence particle ne. Technically, in this case, you could say that you know I usually mention for yo, or simply you could still keep it as right. Don't you think? So yeah, I'd say still the meaning of ne, the most common one, request for confirmation or agreement. or technically in the other sense, as in the, different from the one I mentioned so far for yo, the one that says dictionary in this case, used to express technically one's thoughts or feelings. But yeah, either way, here she says, if I become strong, I will, for one thing, yeah, then we have the translation for the she. I will become. We have the verb in the present in Japanese, but the present can be used for a simple future. Yeah, in this case, I'd say better that. I will become a substitute of the guardman, literally, so the security guard. And yeah, so yeah, funny enough, that's what she says. Oh yeah, okay, so we can continue going around. Yeah, we want to go there before leaving for sure. I want to see if our mother has something to say. And yeah, she has a different dialogue here compared to last time. Here she says, of course, Okasan as usual, so yeah, mom better in this case, but yeah, as in the word you use when referring in a familiar way to your mother, not when speaking of your mother to someone else, because yeah, when speaking of someone else's mother, you still use this Okasan, which is the actually, as you can see, the honorific form with the honorific prefix O. Yeah, when you refer to your mom, your mother, about when speaking to someone else, you would use the term haha. Should be accent on the first syllable, but we'll check. It is. Okay. Okay, here she says, well, first and foremost, Reddo, of course, Red, our name, quotation, the suspension dots and the exclamation mark, we can then actually move the dialogue to see the rest. And yeah, she says, Skoshi yasunde ittara do kashira. First and foremost, we have Skoshi. I think we might have seen it before. I don't remember if in this series. It's an adverb that means a little, a bit, a small amount, slightly, and so on. But yeah, a little. The accent is on the ko. The U of su is barely heard if at all because it's between our voice consonants. So yeah, Skoshi. Then we have Yasunde from Yasumu. I think accented, but we check. Its meaning, its fundamental meaning is to rest, to have a break. Then by extension can also become to be absent, to take a day off from work, school, and so on. And also from to rest, to have a break, to go to bed, to lie down, to sleep, and so on. But yeah, the fundamental one is to rest. And yeah, Yasumu, yeah, accented. Verb got and verb, so to make that a form we have to follow the rules. It's in mu, so it becomes nde. again, first we most likely change the U into I to make the continuative form. Yasumi te. Then they fell, so only the M remained. Became simply a generic nasal. Nasal which influenced the following te, which became voiced. But that's actually because in classical Japanese, voiced consonants were also prenasalized. So yeah, that te was nde. So yeah, that's why. And yeah, nowadays we straight up write n on its own as the nasal mora, and then de. The accent for the te form is on the third to last mora. So luckily in this case it doesn't change compared to the terminal or dictionary form yasumu. So still on the su, yasunde. Te form in this case because actually we use we have the verb ittara after it. As we see actually we could say technically here simply needs meaning for the te form, do the action of the verb and the rest of the sentence. Can also imply, by the way, a sequence. So yeah, first happens the action of the verb in te and then the other verb. Like in this case, yeah, it makes sense. Other verb which is itta, from iku, to go. Unaccented. It's a verb codon verb, so we have to follow the rules, but actually not, because it's an exception, because usually it would be in ku. So yeah, in ku would become ita. But yeah, we don't make it, it's not ita. As you can see here, it's double consonant ta instead. My guess is that potentially, again, we change the U into I to make the continuative form, added the ta here, ikita. But then, instead of following the K, like for other verbs in ku, they fell. So yeah, ikta, difficult to pronounce, and so became simply doubling of the following consonant, itta. Ta form, usually past form of the verb in plain speech, here actually used because then we had the ra, and so make another form of the conditional. So yeah, we get another one again. This one also if, when, so also with a temporal meaning potentially. This one as it's not a case that it's made from the ta form of the verb, because yeah, it's the meaning is that the action of the verb in tara has happened before, has to have happened before the rest of the sentence can happen. But yeah, in this case, yeah, we have itara. By the way, the accent should be, I actually quickly check it. But yeah, iku unaccented. If I recall correctly, the accent should be on the ta. But yeah, I'll try to find it. Okay, I think this one should be it. I don't see Tara exactly here, but I see Tari, the similar Tari, and my guess is that it should follow the rules of that. I don't remember now if it's also straight up mentioned here. But yeah, for that one, the accent of accented verb, unaccented verbs, it's accented on the ta. accented verbs simply keep their accent actually in the position of the accent of the ta form. So yeah, third to last, more of the ta form, and then we simply add. Here I can see the re, I guess also the ra. But yeah. After that we have do, part of the Kosovo series called close to both the speaker and the listener, so far from the speaker close to the listener, far from both, do the interrogative, Kosovo are usually unaccented, do accented do itself, with the u, so actually long o, then do, accented on the do again. It means in what way. So yeah, then also simply how. But yeah, specifically would be in what way, because yeah, the other ones, for example, ko would be in this way, and so on. After that we have actually kashira, which is a female term or language, which I think we might have seen already our mom use in this series. And it can, it has the meaning, I wonder, do you think, I might, how about. So yeah. In this case, let's say how about, even more so that it's perfect with the do, which is how on its own. Yeah. So, notice by the way, this kashira, I'm not sure, because I don't think I've seen straight up someone mention it, but I suspect that the ka could be the interactive particle. But yeah, also considering that, by the way, another meaning for this kashira is some kind, some stage, somehow, somewhere. So yeah, wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. But yeah, so yeah, she's saying here, literally, if you rest a little and go. So yeah, of course the sequence is first you rest a little and then you go. I'd rather avoid using the then, because technically we have a more specific form for the with the form of the verb, but also something else. It's the tekara. I think we have seen it before in another series, if not this one. That one is more specifically and then. But yeah, either way, still a sequence clearly. First you do the action of the Yasunde and then Iku. But yeah, if you rest a little and go, how about it? How is it? We could say also. Then we have other suspension dots. And yeah, we rested. We could say even better, by the way, for the tekara form, after, since. But yeah. Here then, our mom says, ara ara, first and foremost. You might have heard of it. it's an interjection, an expression. Well, it can have several translations technically, and several meanings. So here I'd say more a generic oh. It can be an expression of mild surprise, incredulity, annoyance. So another translation given is tsk, tsk. The accent of it, by the way, can find it there. Let's see if I can actually find it in the physical dictionary. By the way, there's also a variant, arara. Yeah, the meaning is the same. Yeah, you might have heard it in anime and so on. Yeah, also used. Technically, doesn't say that it's a female term or language, but I've definitely heard female characters use it. Let me see if I can find it. Ara. Nope. Unfortunately, can't confirm it. But yeah, in this case, let's say oh simply. And then she says, Anata mo Pokémon mo Genki ippai ne. So yeah, first we have Anata, actually the second person singular pronoun, you. Not sure why in this case she uses it. Because it's worth mentioning again that nowadays, traditionally it was polite, a polite way to refer to someone of equal or lower status. Nowadays, often, clearly not in this case, regarded as rude, or at the very least distant. Although funny enough, because of its origin actually, we have seen the traditional polite is also used, as mentioned before, in familiar language when addressing by wives addressing their husbands. But yeah, so dear honey in that case. But yeah, here simply a you, the inclusive particle. So yeah, you. Well, we'll see in a second that here actually used a slightly different, still inclusive particle. Oh yeah, after that we have Pokemon, and then again the particle mo. So yeah, we could say both, in English, both you and your Pokemon. So yeah, you use the mo after each of these the words in a sense of both you and both first person or something, and then the second one. But yeah, after that we have Genki, which means it's an adjective we have seen before, full of spirit, lively, we could say, energetic, vigorous, vital, spirited. Keep in mind again this, for example, full of spirit, because it makes it easier to remember because the key in it means spirit, mind, heart, and so on, unaccented on its own. It's accented on the first more, so yeah, the second most common accent for Chinese compounds like this one. And yeah, by the way, then by extension from that full of spirit energetic, also healthy, well, fit, in good health. And then we have Ippai, as we have seen, technically originally, numerical plus counter combination, literally one cup full. One bowl, cup full, glass full also by glass, one glass by extension, bowl full. But yeah, then it becomes an adverb, which means fully, because yeah, a full, most likely a full cup, bowl, and so on. From that, it's worth mentioning that the accent of Ippai, as in the numeral plus counter, is accented before the high pi in this case, so on the E, because then it can stay the accent of the doubling of the following consonant on the small su, so it moves on the E. But when used as the adverb fully, it becomes unaccented, as we have seen, so be careful. Yeah, with this Genki Pai, so yeah, last but not least, we have the ne party, final sentence particle ne, so yeah, aren't you? So yeah, the meaning here is both you and your Pokemon are full of energy, we could say. Oh yeah. After that, she says, Soreja, Kyo, Skete. First and foremost, we have Sore, again part of the Kosodo series. With the re is the demonstrative pronoun that. After it, we have this za, which is actually a contraction of dewa, the form of the copula, wa, the topic particle, but when used after the form of a copula, no, not just the copula of a verb, and so on in general, it gets the meaning. If that's the case, so yeah, you can see, if that's the case, you can see why we use the topic particle. As for that, it's meaning on its own of the topic particle. Yeah, if that's the case, here it gets contracted. The wa becomes za, a usually longer, but it can be shortened. Yeah, literally, if that's the case, we have that literally, here we have sore. Yeah, so it actually becomes a conjunction, well, right, now, well, actually here better would be well then, or so, or then on its own. And then we have key. Funny enough, the key we have mentioned before, the spirit, mind, and so on. In this case, by extension, it becomes attention, as we see. because then we have the object particle O, and then we have the verb tsukeru. Again, the one that means to attach, to join, to connect, to add, and so on. To apply, we could say also. And so, to add, to put, we could say by adapting it. Well, by adapting it better, it becomes to pay attention. And yeah, so yeah, Kyotsukeru, the U is barely heard if at all, of the Tsu is barely heard if at all, because it's between voice consonants. But yeah, Kyotsukeru means to be careful, or even better, to pay attention. In this case, well, tsukeru is a ru verb, godan verb, ru verb, ichidan verb. So we can drop the ru to make the continuative form, and then to attach the te and make the te form of the verb. In this case, as you might can see, it stops there. That's because it's actually a contraction. We would have to use kudasai after it. There's an implied kudasai from kudasaru, one of the verbs of giving, from a superior to an inferior, honorific, this one. We have even studied its kanji. It's the one for bottom. Yeah, so again, the movement from top to bottom, figuratively, if not originally physically. After that, the form of a verb, the verbs of giving give the have the meaning of to do the favor of doing the action of the verb in te. Kudasaru is a verb, godan verb, so we can change the u into i to make technically the continuative form, but yeah, actually in practice now we drop the ru and add i. But yeah, originally we dropped we changed the u into i, kudasari, but then the r fell, and that's why we now have the i only. Again, this is typical of certain honorific verbs, including kudasaru. We have seen other ones like nasaru, and so on. Continuative form, in that case, because there's an implied, in some cases still explicited, but more often than not you simply use kudasai on its own. But yeah, originally we would add masse, so the imperative form of mass, the auxiliary verb, used to make the polite form of verbs. So yeah, te kudasai, here simply so the te form on its own at the end of a sentence, please do the action of the verb. Again, original, please do the favor of doing the action of the verb. But yeah, here, so yeah, well then, please be careful, please pay attention. Yeah, in the sense of be careful. Oh yeah. Last but not least, funny enough, yeah, immediately we see another one of these verbs I mentioned, honorific verbs, because she says itterashai. First and foremost, we have itte, again actually from iku, this one, to go. Again, iku is irregular when it comes to its te form. It becomes ite because of what we've mentioned. after it, we have this Rashai, which comes from Irasharu, another honorific verb, in particular honorific these ones as in respectful verbs. There are other honorific verbs which are, for example, the humble ones. Yeah, these ones specifically respectful. So used when making honor, being respectful towards the action done by the subject. Usually the one we're speaking to, but not necessarily. But yeah, this Irasharu, actually I check its accent in the physical dictionary because it's not present there in the online 1 plus plugin combo. Okay, let me quickly find it. Okay, Irasharu on its own accented on the sha. Okay, and as we see, like in this form here, Rashai, the accent is on the sha also. My guess is that it might be because the E is considered part of a diphthong with the ya. That would explain why it changes, because otherwise it should be on the E itself, on the last mora of, because it's a continuative form. Ah yeah, as mentioned, Rasharu, Irasharu, verb, god and verb. But yeah, it's another one of those honorific ones which drop the ru and add E again, actually change the U into E to make the continuative Irashari, but then the R fell. So yeah, only the E remains. But yeah, continuative form. And again implying actually ma se. So yeah. By the way, with the masse, as I can see also on the physical dictionary for Irashai masse, which is actually one of the ones of the expressions that more often than not actually still use still explicit the masse. Other ones like kudasai do not usually. The accent of masse is luckily on the ma, just like mass, unsurprisingly, but yeah, we got the confirmation here. But yeah, this Irasharu, I actually didn't mention its meaning. It actually is the honorific form of several verbs. To come, to go. So yeah, actually both verbs, both fundamental verbs of movement, without the distinction. Yeah, actually convenient in a way, but of course then not you don't can see. You have to guess based on the context which one it is. The other meaning is to be, as in to exist, or better in this case, as in to be in a place. But yeah, it's actually again like iru, and actually can be used after the form of a verb, in the sense to be doing. So yeah, actually the continuative action. Like teiru. But yeah, here we have itte, to go. And then we have this rashai. Notice the contraction of the E dropped, but yeah, simply irashai. Yeah, since the verb to go, we have already it at first, the irashai is actually come. So yeah, this expression, itte irashai, literally means come, go, and then, again, notice the sequence, first you go, and then come back. Again, actually, since we have itte irashai, implied the masse, it's the polite imperative. So yeah, please go and come back. Cioè, please come back, we will simply say in English. Yeah, in Japanese, we have this. So yeah, first you go and then you come back. So yeah, for now, I think maybe straight up always now. If we speak to our mom, she can heal us and our Pokemon. Our Pokemon actually. Yeah, she says that. We'll try to speak also to this character. Nanami, as you might remember, Green's sister, older sister, and so also the other, the granddaughter of Oak. She says here, Reddo-kun. First and foremost, yeah, the name of our protagonist, kun, as the suffix. This one we have seen technically more often than not used after the name of a male of equal or lower status. In some cases also used after the names of female of lower status in formal settings by males. We have mentioned, but more often than not you usually see it after the name of males. And so the contrast with chan, technically that one is the familiar suffix for familiar suffix for familiar person, familiar language. But yeah, more often than not you see the contrast between kun for males and chan for females, boys and girls. But yeah, after that she says green to shobu shita desu te ne. First and foremost we have green. We have the particle to here with, so with green. Shobu. We have seen it some last time again. Literally victory or defeat, then by extension becomes match, contest game. In Pokemon games we could say battles. Showdown, technically. So, accent on the first syllable, it's a Chinese compound, so yeah, the second most accent for those. A noun, but we can make the verb, the corresponding verb, by adding suru, to do, cioè to do a match. Suru, which in this case, to make that a form, unfortunately it's completely irregular. We have to remember that its continuity form is shi, and then we can add the ta, so shita. They barely heard it at all because it's between our consonants. We have this n, an abbreviation of no, again the nominalizer for verbs, thing as in fact, des. the copula in the polite form of the copula. And yeah, again, it's the expression no des, no da. Literally, it is that, the fact is that, the explanation is that, and so on. After that, though, we have this te, double consonant te, which is technically a particle, we could say. At least that's what also the online dictionary says. But yeah, it has several usages technically. The most common one is as a replacement of to when used as the quoting particle. So yeah, technically it's still same as the with above, but instead of with a person, technically it would be with and then the quotation. But yeah, the quoting particle. Similar ones, like actually toyu, literally says, and then the quotation. There are other usages, but yeah, in this case, it's clearly one of these. Someone, not specified, said. So yeah, actually, technically, it's simply hearsay. She heard that we have battled with green. And then simply the ne at the end, right? And then she says, Mitakata wa, from miru, to see, to look at, to watch, accented. Ru verb is a verb, so we can drop the ru to make the continuity form. In this case, to add tai, an adjective, an auxiliary adjective, which is used to make the desiderative form of the verb. Want to, would like to do, the action of the verb. It's an adjective, so actually then we conjugate it like an adjective. In this case, we drop the I to originally add the ku, the adverbial form of the verb, also used for further conjugation. In this case, to add atta from aru, to be as to exist with inanimate things, so objects, locations, concepts, and so on its own. It's the form, it's in ru, it's a u verb, golden verb, but in ru, so it becomes double consonant ta. Again, change the u into i, ari, ta, but in this case, actually, the i fell, as per the rule, ar, ta, difficult to pronounce, becomes the double consonant, doubling of the consonant, and ta. So yeah, originally, mita, ku, atta, but then it gets contracted, kuata, katta, and nowadays it's always used like this. And yeah, so actually it's used to make the past form affirmative in plain speech of the adjective. Yeah, so here, well, last but not least, we have the particle wa, female term or language, indicates emotion or admiration. Yeah, she says, I wanted to see it, to watch it. Okay. Yeah, with that, for now she says only that. I was thinking, yeah. Yeah, we haven't seen these, so we'll actually check it now while we still can. Yeah, we have these Kanto Chiho no Chizuda. First and foremost, we have Kanto, the name of our region, of this Pokemon region. And actually the name of a region in straight up in Japan, the region which is the basis for these Pokemon games, the one accented on the first Mora. It's a Chinese compound, and yeah, unsurprising, it's the second most common accent for those. Kanto. That one, of course, when written without kanji, would be Kanto-u, but then again, O-u, actually long O. Here, straight up, written in katakana, the name of the Pokemon region, with the long vowel mark. After that, we have Chiho, which means it's a word for region, another Chinese compound, on its own, accented on the ho, so be careful, an unusual spot for the accent, Chiho. Well, actually, I think it might be because technically, I actually also checked in the physical dictionary. Yeah, the E of chi should be barely heard if at all. Yeah, that's the case. Because it's between a voice consonants as usual. So, actually, most likely, the accent in this case moves on the ho simply because the accent can stay, or better, most don't pronounce it, don't keep the accent on moras with the vowels barely heard if at all. Yeah, by the way, when used here like a suffix, like in our case kanto chiho, the accent luckily is still just like chiho on its own, but funny enough, there's the variant which is accented on the chi, and yeah, despite that change that most apply, so yeah, we have the further confirmation that technically the accent most likely of chiho on its own would be on the chi, but yeah, then simply moves for that reason. But yeah, lucky enough, simply when we had, like in our case, we have straight up also in the physical dictionary the example of kanto chiho. And yeah, the accent is the same as chiho on its own. But yeah, then we have the possessive particle no, chizu, which means map. By the way, the zoo is the same we have seen in Zukan, drawing, picture, diagram, and so on. And the chi found also in Chiho is the one for ground, earth, literally earth, drawing, picture, diagram, however you want. So, and surprisingly, the meaning is map then. Chizu, accent on the first syllable. Again, the second most common accent for Chinese compounds. And yeah, then after that, simply the copula da. So, it's a map of the Kanto region. Then we have suspension dots. Moraita ra ureshii. First and foremost, we have moraita ra technically, from morau, to receive, unaccented, u verb, golden verb, so we can change the u into e, and then add ru, here we can see it because of further conjugation, to make the potential form of the verb, so can receive. Potential forms are ru verbs, each verbs, so we can drop the ru to make the conjugative form, and then simply to add the ta, make the ta form of the verb. in this case then to add the ra and make this a form of the conditional. Again, most likely, so the accent here, Morairu, the potential form would still be unaccented. Then the accent of this Tara, so the accent most likely is on the Ta, as we have seen. So if when, last but not least, we have this Urashi, an adjective which means happy, glad, pleased, delighted, overjoyed. Accent, ureshi. So joyful, delightful, gratifying, pleasant. Yeah, the fundamental meaning is happy. And then notice that actually we have this, it becomes with a rising intonation, we have the question mark. So yeah, here it says literally, if you could receive it, you, then in English we would have to add would be happy with a rising intonation. So, would you be happy if you could receive it? Of course you would, but yeah, in the sense of it's a question in the sense it's a remark like that. Okay, so yeah, I had forgotten to check it. Good thing we did. You might know why if you have already played this game or the originals. So yeah, actually, yeah, today we have to end it here, so we'll save. But yeah, we have checked out the dialogue, the additional dialogues of people around Pallet Town, everything. So yeah, next time we should actually be able to leave the town for real this time. And we'll save. Perfect. We can close the game. And yes, so today, first and foremost, we studied the kanji we had found in game and all the related ones. After that, we have finally gone around Pallet Town again. We spoke to the characters that had additional new dialogue. We checked out also the map there, as we have seen. So yeah, the next time, which unless plans change, and unfortunately you might have heard that I have a cold, hopefully I'll be able to stream, but still, unless plans change, with it, next time will be on Friday as usual. Yeah, we'll finally leave Pallet Town for real this time. So yeah, we'll tackle our first road, our first route. But yeah. So yeah. See you next time.